Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? We're doing new music. This is the Naked Truth Report. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells. And we got new music. You know why? Because we're live streaming on YouTube. And you can't do like the copyrighted music that I normally do. So what is my intro? I'm your host, Kathleen Wells. This is the Naked Truth Report. And what do I talk about? I talk about the fact that the Democratic Party and Black politicians have destroyed Black America. That's right. That's what I talk about. We have a guest coming up, and I don't see him on the line now. And let me ask my engineer. Can you hear me? Can they hear me? Okay, you guys can hear me. And I don't know if you like this music. I think it's pretty jazzy. It's non-copyrighted music. Anyway, our guest, he's not on the line yet, but our guest is Dr. Steve Perry. And what did I do? I went to an event last month. It was an event by Cato Institute. They're libertarians. And the reason why I went is because I think they're libertarians are wrong-headed on illegal aliens and high immigration, correct? Yeah, I think so. So I was invited to go, and I heard Dr. Perry speak, and it was wonderful. And he's known as America's educator, right? And he talks about school. In fact, he has founded a preparatory school in Connecticut. The name of it, let me see, is Capital Preparatory Magnet School in Connecticut. And also he will be premiering a show on Fox on January 7th called Breakthrough. Oh, I see he's on the line. Hi, Dr. Perry. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be on with you.
I'm delighted to have you. I saw you speak last month at Cato Institute. You were in Beverly. We were at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I was very motivated by what you were saying. In fact, it was a very interesting evening because I was invited. I focus on illegal immigration or immigration on this program. But, I think after seeing what folks had did, how Black women voted for DeSantis in Florida because of school choice, a significant amount of Black women voted for DeSantis during the midterms in Florida because of school choice. I think I'm going to sort of include school choice as an issue because I'm trying to get Black folks off the Democratic Party. So talk to us. I know this year you did a worldwide education truth tour. So tell us the truth, Dr. Perry.
The truth is that the American strategy for educating its citizenry has failed to provide access to a quality education, especially to children of color. And it has since its inception.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about Black Americans being properly educated since the 1800s. So, why are we failing? Why is it not happening?
It's not happening because of racism. It's not happening because, unfortunately, many African Americans do not either fully accept and or understand that the same underpinnings that made what we refer to as the justice system, which overwhelmingly and disproportionately incarcerates African American, Latino, and poor people, has the same underpinnings exist as it relates specifically to education. The same people lose in education as do our justice system. That's why when you talk about the school to prison pipeline, they have the same DNA. They were both meant to subjugate people of color and poor people. And so what sometimes happens, what's often happening, is many African Americans are led to believe, largely by the Democratic Party, that we should fight for our neighborhood school because that's to be our salvation. Unfortunately, and I do mean unfortunately, our neighborhood school is the biggest culprit of the undereducation of African America.
African American. Well, I hate calling us people of color and African Americans. I like to call us Black Americans. That's my thing. And I'm just trying to get folks to go along with it because it's political suicide for us to call ourselves people of color because that's like everyone. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, what I wanted to say is that we have been with the Democratic Party forever, for 5 decades, actually. For 5 decades. And the Democrats in these liberal cities, anyway, in places like Los Angeles and Chicago, they've been running these schools. So,
well, the truth is that there's no party and no city within which African Americans or Black people are being truly effectively supported. However, as it specifically relates to having access to quality education, the Democratic Party is most problematic because what it does is it has convinced many African Americans and those people who will support us to believe that to support the maintenance of the failed school system is to support our community. And more specifically, it's largely white women who are liberals and Democrats who are fighting for the teachers union in particular and teachers in general, to maintain their employment. And that's especially problematic because we have yet to benefit from increasing their pay, decreasing the limitations on decreasing the expectations on what it is that's supposed to be happening in our schools. So we, as Black people, have suffered from a lack of access due in large part to our own misunderstanding of the system that is designed to undermine our education.
So as I said, I heard you speak at the Cato Institute. You've been going all around. You have a PhD in, what is your PhD in? So
I have an EDD. I have a doctorate in education.
Education. So you've been at this. You're the founder of Capital Preparatory Magnet School in Connecticut, where you have an excellent rate of getting kids in college and universities. So talk to me during your tour this year. What needs to be done?
So just by extension of what the work that we've done, we founded Capital Prep Magnet School in Hartford, and then we went on to found 2 Capital Preps in Bridgeport, Connecticut, one in Harlem, and we're now opening one in the Bronx. What people need to understand is that school choice is the only choice. It's that period. We can no longer bully a failed system that is drowning our children. We have to choose the schools that are best for us, and we cannot allow any group or individual to lead us down a road that we've gone down too many times. Ironically, if you look at the Little Rock Nine who fought to get into school, I would be willing to bet that none of them would send their child or grandchildren to the schools that they fought to get into. Mm-hmm. And similarly, if you look at Brown, I guarantee you that she wouldn't send her daughter to the Topeka, Kansas school. They were school choice advocates. We have a history of being school choice advocates. And our problem is that somewhere along the way, the fear of the Republican Party and the fear mongering of the Democratic Party have together combined to make African Americans generally untrusting of any policy that comes out of the GOP. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. But hopefully, because there's quite a few. There's my program, and and as I said, I focused on high immigration, illegal aliens. Hopefully, and there are other folks. And I think this immigration issue is going to get many, as you know, I think 18% of Black women in Florida or Georgia or wherever, I can't remember, voted for the GOP. So hopefully things are gradually changing. So this is the main thing that I'd like to say is this. Liberal elites send their kids to private schools, but they don't want Black folks to send their kids to have school choice.
Absolutely true.
Right.
That's absolutely true. It's not just liberal elites that are white. They're Black and Latino elites who don't even acknowledge that even if they don't send their child to a private school, let's say they send their child to a neighborhood school, they chose to do that, which is profoundly different than a poor person who has no choice. Mm-hmm. Similarly, even those who decide to send their children to failed urban schools do not understand that an educated, well-to-do person sending their child to a failed school is by no means close to a person who has no means and is 100% dependent upon the school to teach them whatever it is that they need to know.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, bilingual, we're here in Los Angeles, and bilingual, you know, our school, I went to the schools here in the public schools here in Los Angeles. I'm a native Los Angelino. And, you know, bilingual education, we didn't have it when I was in school. You know, when I was in public schools, we did, you know, we were like, California was at the best, had the best schools. Now they do bilingual education, and we're at the bottom. Okay, and so what is the resistance? What kind of resistance I know you talk about the fear, but when you talk to parents, how do you think? What is the best way to persuade them that having school choice is to their child's advantage?
I think we just have to continue to tell the truth. The truth is that in areas where there is school choice, the overall academic performance increases. And then I think we have to show them that from our heritage as Black people in the United States of America, we've always fought for a better academic experience. We came up out of slavery. The first thing we did was open colleges.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why reading was a crime in many American states. Is because to learn to read is to learn to be human in our country. And the more literate you are, the more humane people have to be towards you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to show Black people that there's power in the written and spoken word. And that the more we master it and numbers, the more, the greater our participation in the overall economic experience of America.
Mm-hmm. And so it's very disappointing because, you know, we've been talking about, like you said, we can go back to slavery. You know, Black Americans have been in this country 460 years, and we've been talking about education forever. And here we are going backwards. This is very distressing.
Well, so I don't know that we necessarily are going backwards. I think that we find ourselves, we're fighting for greater school choice.
Mm-hmm.
Over 80% of African Americans support school choice. So we're there.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to push out of the way the liberals who stand in the way. And honestly, we need to have more of the conservatives at least tip their hat like they're going to make sure they consider Black people. We can't have it where we have both sides that seem to have so little interest in our well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't forfeit our votes to the Democrats, but we also can't just give them up to the Republicans just because the Democrats don't support us in this particular area.
Wait, repeat that. Say that again about the Democrats.
We can't just forfeit our votes to the Democrats,
uh-huh.
nor can we just give them away to the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides have to show some interest in making sure that they take into consideration our people. And until such time as they do, we are still a people without a nation, and definitely a people without a party.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you say we can't forfeit. What do you mean by that? We can't give up voting Democrat? Is that what you think? We can't give that?
No. We can't just give it to them just because they're Democrats.
Right. That's my position I take. So anyway, you have a new show coming up January 7th. It's called Breakthrough. It's on Fox, January 7th. Why don't you tell us about it?
Very excited about it.
Yeah.
Breakthrough is, everybody needs a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to get past something that they're dealing with, regardless of what it is, whether it's a relationship challenge or a personal challenge with someone who you care about as a child, or it's something even bigger than that. So we're starting this show on January 7th. It's going to be in 8 of the largest markets in America. And I think people's minds are going to be blown. It's a different kind of talk show,
mm-hmm.
because I'm not an actor. So what you're going to see and experience is what I'm seeing and experiencing, which is what I really do as an educator, being on the ground, working to make sure that people's lives are improved every day. So very specifically, one of the things that we have to do is show that, like, one of our stories is about a husband and wife who find themselves fighting all the time, so much so that the police have been called. Well, I see that at work, and I don't necessarily, I'm not the person who's coming in and trying to keep this couple together. That's not really my thing. What I do care about is that they're a father and mother to an 8-month-old child. And no child should be brought up in an environment like that. So I'm going to hold their feet to the fire and let them know that this ain't cool. And that even if you can't stay together, you need to work together as parents, because there are too many kids being raised in ridiculous circumstances because adults are acting more like children than we need them to. From that to some fun stuff where people are trying to explore parts of who they are that they've never thought before, whether it be like one woman, it doesn't sound like it's fun until you get to know her. She lost her husband to suicide. But when you meet her and you see Cassie and hear her story about how her faith and her positive spirit has made her overcome this extreme tragedy, and see how she's raising her 2 beautiful little kids, there's a bump to that'll make you feel good. Breakthrough is about answers, not just about asking questions, but about coming up with answers to move people through whatever it is that is going on in their life. And so I'm very, very excited about this. I would have done it if it was just a TV show. That's just not my thing. Because in real life, I am an educator, and anything that takes away from the opportunity to educate our community is something that I have to really consider long. And this show is one that has made it clear that, look, we don't want to just do a regular show. We want to do something that changes people's lives. And that to me is super exciting.
So what are the elements? What are the elements that help? What are the elements that makes someone accomplish a breakthrough?
That's a great question. At its core, you accomplish a breakthrough when you recognize your role in your circumstances, no matter what it is. So one couple came in and he had cheated on her, and it would be easy to say that he's just a horrible human being, and that's not cool what he did by any stretch of imagination. But what I wanted her to understand is that no matter the relationship, if there are 2 people in the relationship, each person has some role in what's going on. And I wanted her to see that your decision to stay in this circumstance gives you a role in this. And once you understand that there was a decision that you made to stay, then you could make a new decision if you don't want to be there. And when people understand what it is that they must do to improve their life, they become much more powerful. And in that power can create a new set of circumstances, and they have a breakthrough. And that's what's really, really exciting, to recognize that very few problems that dog us have to stay with us. We can overcome them by the power of our decisions.
Yeah, it's about choices that we make, getting back to school choice, having options in the choices that we make. So are you going to follow up with your guests to see how things have evolved for them and progressed and how they broke through? Will you follow up?
I would imagine we will. There will definitely be follow-ups to the stories that we do. Well, we're starting with our families from all over. It's really exciting. I can't tell you how exciting it is, because I can't tip my hat to everything that we're doing, but I can say that be prepared to be blown away. The guests that you think you're going to hate, you're not. There's a young woman who is living with her father. She's 23 years old, and she's not paying any bills. She's not doing anything to support her family. And dad wants her out. When you see that story and you see how that plot twists and turns, you'll be blown away. There's no way you're going to guess the end. And that's what's so exciting about Breakthrough, is that that's what real life is. When I'm at work and I'm working with a family, that parent may come in and I may think that her son is acting badly and she's co-signing his foolishness. But she comes in and sits down and breaks down crying and say, I just don't know what to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shifts from being in a position of holding her accountable to holding her hand through a very, very difficult time.
Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you being with me, Dr. Perry. And I don't know if you remember that I was at the...
I do. We were at the Beverly Hills, Wilshire.
Yeah.
I remember you.
Yeah, you remember. And that was an interesting evening
there were only like 2 Black people in the room. And I was one of them. So it wasn't that hard to remember you, sis.
And then I was the other, right?
There you go.
Well, I'm so glad you reached out to me, and I intended to have you on the show to talk about school choice, but I didn't know that you had this new show coming up. It sounds like it's going to be interesting, and I want to encourage my Truth Warriors to check it out. So tell us, when is the date and time that they can see it?
So they can see the show Breakthrough with Dr. Steve Perry on Fox in LA. Starting on January 7th. Promotions are going to start. And what's really cool is that you are first on the list of people that we've had the chance to speak with about this, because you're that cool.
Oh, that's so sweet. I am cool, right? You're cool too. Yeah. You're cool too.
Well, thank you.
So I really appreciate
it's going to air I'll tell you right now, it's going to air after Dr. Oz.
Oh, okay.
At 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
in LA.
Yeah, and it's a.
I'm sorry. After your local news. I'm looking at where it's going to air in New York, but in Los Angeles, it's going to air at 1 p.m. after the local news on Fox.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to air. This is Dr. Steve Perry. He is considered America's educator. He's an advocate for school choice, and he has a new show coming up, premiering January 7th on Fox. You said after the news?
Yep, after the midday news.
After the midday in the news. Well, I appreciate you being on my show. This is the Naked Truth Report. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells, and I know you have to go. So what do you want to leave us with?
I think it's important that people understand that every single one of us deserves a breakthrough. Every single one of us deserves to leave our past in the past and focus on our present and future. And when you watch Breakthrough with Dr. Steve Perry, you will find your breakthrough every day.
Beautiful. I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm going to let you go. And thank you for joining us on the Naked Truth Report, Dr. Perry.
All right. Take care.
Okay. You see, this is my new music because I'm streaming on live. I'm live streaming. I don't have all the language right, folks. I'm live streaming on YouTube. Hey, why don't you can go to the YouTube channel, The Naked Truth Report. Yeah. Go to the Naked Truth Report YouTube channel and you can see me live. Hi. I don't have that many people in the chat room. Usually, I don't know, maybe, because usually I do Facebook Live, and I don't know why my folks from Facebook aren't coming over to the YouTube Live, but eventually it's going to get all together and everything. So if you're listening out there, get on your computer and go to the Naked Truth Report YouTube channel. Yeah. And you can see me live, and I'll say hello, and you can write to me. In fact, we're going to take a break right now, and when I come back from the break, we're going to do open phones, and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Hey, we'll be right back. I'm on. See, I have new music. You guys, my Truth Warriors and Mythbusters know my regular music, but I can't play my regular music because it's copyrighted, and I'm live streaming on YouTube right now. So go, Truth Warriors, please go to YouTube, the Naked Truth Report YouTube, and you can check me out and say hello. Say Merry Christmas, right? Anyway, you heard my sponsor, Sky Tacos. I'm so hungry. I'm not kidding. Those tacos, I'm telling you, those tacos are like to die for, as they say. That's what the Valley girls say. I'm not a Valley girl, but I know that expression. Those tacos, I love the shrimp tacos, and I love the tilapia tacos, and I love the guacamole and chips. Go go check out Sky's Tacos at 5303 Pico Boulevard and also 5200 Century Boulevard. And also they're in the marketplace in the Marina City Club. Go check it out. Okay. You won't regret it. Believe me, you won't regret it. And in fact, when you go to Sky's, call in and let me know how you loved your taco, right? And how you loved your guacamole. Anyway, another thing I want to talk about is, another thing I want to share with my listeners is, you guys got to listen to Dan Bongino's podcast. I just recently started listening to it, and it is so fantastic. He is so, I'm trying to get him on the show. I sent him what did I do? I sent him an email, or I sent him a tweet. I can't remember, but I really want to get him on the show. Dan Bongino knows what's going on regarding this Clinton Foundation and the FISA abuse, all of this scandal, or what, his book is called what? Spygate. He knows what's going on. Have you guys checked it out? In fact, you should go check out one of, I think he did this one. It's called Restoration Weekend. And he talks about the Obama administration and Clinton and Mueller investigation. His book is Spygate. I recommend that book, but this man knows all the details. And if you're not listening to his podcast, so basically what, I'm just going to go briefly and say that what the Obama administration did was that they unmasked, and they eavesdrop, or they what is the word I don't want to say wiretap. Well, they surveilled, the Trump team, members of the Trump team. But it was just, I don't know. I can't even get it in my head right now, but it's all so detailed. There were FISA abuses in the sense that what they gave to the FISA judges to be able to unmask these private citizens to surveil the Trump team. I think they surveilled Carter Page. But they lied they weren't forthcoming. And they used the dossier was used as evidence. The dossier was paid for by the Clinton campaign, by the Clinton team, and and in fact, Comey just testified that it wasn't verified. But we've known this, right? But this is a big deal. Let's see, what is the latest thing going on? I think, what was it? Cohen, the lawyer. Oh, Flynn has been sentenced. That's right. Anyway, I encourage all my truth warriors to listen to Don Bongino's podcast. He does one every day during the week, and also his book Spygate. I want to encourage folks to listen to that, to listen to his podcast, because you'll be more informed. I don't remember all this stuff, but believe me, I listened to it, and I'm going to talk about it in detail in a later show. Go into detail about it. So we have the phones open, and now we have a call from Keith in Los Angeles. Hi, Keith.
Well, hello, Kathleen. How are you?
Good. You haven't called in a while.
Oh, well, you look. I mean, you say so many things that I agree with. I mean, I don't know if I should call it, because you'd probably not take it because you agree with me.
Right. So what
anyway,
you want to talk about the identity crisis of Black Americans, right? What do you want to say?
Yes. I really think that, I work with kids. I work in high schools, in a public school, LAUSD. I won't say which high school, but anyway, that's what I do. And I do mentoring and supervision of kids. Mm-hmm. And in this high school, of course, there are very few Black kids in our schools. They're mostly Latino. Mm-hmm. That's another issue. But anyway, the point is,
can you say what school you're at?
I probably shouldn't, because, I don't know who's listening. I'd rather not say.
Right. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've had so many of them approach me, many of the Black kids. They say, mister, I don't like this school. I don't feel right. And I'm telling you the truth. This is what they tell me. I said, what's wrong? What's the matter with the school? Or I don't want to go to the class. Because these kids, they're all speaking Spanish in there, and I don't understand what they're saying, or, I just don't feel like, there's no.
It's alienating. It's alienating,
Yes.
What is human nature? You see, it's like we do not, this is why, listen, human nature is every group prefers their own group. This is human nature. And it's not racism to say that you prefer your own group. It's human nature. So,
Exactly.
you know, the language has to change. The narratives has to change. The media has destroyed the thinking capacity, the critical thinking skills of the American people. I'm very, you know, Trump is right. The media is the enemy of the American people because we don't have the language. We don't have the language to talk about things properly. You see, and every group is for their own group. Okay, or prefers their own group. This is natural. This is human nature. You could go back thousands of years and see this kind of dynamic taking place. It is not racism to prefer your own group. Okay.
Well, and this is why I would say this, and I know some people don't like what I'm about to say, but even in the Black community, because English is our national language. I love the way you promote English. We need to learn English. I'll tell you why. My major problem, you know, when I tell the Black kids why I think English, and the Latinos why I think English is so important, because all of our documents, all of our founding primary documents are written in English. They're not written in any other language. And why? And that's very much on purpose. The founders were very smart men. They spoke Latin, they spoke other languages as well, but they preferred English in America.
Right. And you know, English is I see Linda on the other line. She's going to tell us about English is not the official language of California, but she's going to let us know. But I appreciate you calling in, Keith, to the Naked Truth Report. Let's take a call from Michael. You want to talk about illegal immigration? Michael, hi. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Nice to speak with you today, Kathleen. I've been following your broadcast for some time now. I learned about you when you called in with Breaking Brown, Yvette Cornell.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I mean, you were touching on some things that I can relate to, considering that I am a native of LA like yourself, and it's like, wow, I don't even know LA anymore. I can't even recognize it.
Right.
And I'm only 46, and I've seen the changes in the last maybe 3 decades. But I can agree with that previous caller who just called in, who represent LAUSD. I contract with them, and it deals with psychomotor skills, biomechanics, and all. And it's just, I mean, just to see it, I mean, firsthand, the kids, you know, who are and it's not their fault, but it's a drain. I would say it's a burden, actually. It's a burden on the teachers when there's a language barrier. Even though teachers have to have there's a credential, second language learners. But again, they're not, you know, teachers are not fluent. Many of them are not fluent, and we still have a significant percentage of African American teachers in the school systems, particularly LAUSD, and particularly Black females, Black American females.
I mean, you know, let me stop you for a second, Michael. You know, did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what you just said? You said Black. We have African American females, and then Black. You see the confusion?
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Are we African American? Are we Black American? You're using them. You're just putting, you know, and you know, Steve Perry did the same thing. You guys use people of color, Black Americans. Who are you talking about? Okay, you know, African Americans are people who immigrated from Africa. Okay,
we are descendants of slaves. I totally agree with you.
So say Black Americans. Why just say Black Americans? We weren't born in. And you called and said I'm a native from Los Angeles. You were not born in Africa, and it's also it's political suicide for even us to say African Americans. Michael, you know better. If you listen to Breaking Brown, you know better than say that.
No, you're absolutely
okay.
Right,
well, we have to all get used to. Yes, we must all get used to saying Black Americans.
I mean, I personally use Black American. Sometimes I use descendants of slaves. We have to make a clear distinction because, of course, we do have Blacks who are here who are not descendants of slaves. We don't have a shared lineage, so that is so true. It needs to become much broader in terms of like certain work environments, because if you say that, it's like, okay.
Yeah, but it starts with you. It starts with you saying, it starts with people like you saying the right terms. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
And you've got to do it, man.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, pretty much we speak the same language. But within our group, you know, it's like we speak a different language because these are new terms. And you're right. I am, you know, educating, you know, people, particularly my people, Black Americans / descendants of slaves. And
you just say we're Native Black Americans. We can even say American Blacks, okay?
Yes, Native.
But we have to stop with that African American and people of color. It's political suicide.
I believe we need to get on the same bandwagon, all of us, in terms of the upcoming 2020 census. You know, there's a petition. You know, we need our own separate category because, as you and I both know, we have people, not only just other groups of people, but we have people who share like skin tone, but not lineage, that are marking that for what I call minority benefits, to claim our birthright, which is the 14th Amendment. So yes, we do need that separate category.
Just Black Americans, American Blacks. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you calling into the Naked Truth Report. Okay, let's take a call this is my favorite caller. Hi, Linda from Burbank.
Hey, Kathleen, you said that I'm not saying that English is the official language.
No. I said that you would correct me because I don't have it cemented in my head.
Oh, it's Article 3, Section 6.
Right. I knew you were always exactly. Repeat that because I was talking over you. Repeat that.
Article 3, Section 6 in the California State Constitution says English is and shall be the official language of the state of California and the United States of America.
Very good. Thank you very much.
So what I mainly want to say is a few weeks ago, a gal called in and she was saying that she's trying to get on Section 8. She couldn't, and she's disabled, I believe she said. Mm-hmm. And the reason why, if she's listening, is because of Jack Kemp from the first Bush administration. He's the one that allowed illegal aliens on Section 8. Now what she should do is to write to President Trump and to write to who is ever the Department of Housing regarding that and state that illegal aliens got on Section 8 because of Jack Kemp from the first Bush administration and undo them and take them off. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is I want to
I remember there was a woman that called in. What was her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. And she was going to be homeless. She's supposed to follow up. I wonder if she's listening. Her name's on the tip of my tongue. But she didn't think that she would qualify for Section 8. I remember that phone call.
I think she tried to apply and she got turned down.
Right.
And the second thing is I want to know when you're going to have the guest you had on from Judicial Watch to see if there's a case.
That was Chris Farrell, right?
Chris Farrell.
Yeah.
See if there's a case, the Republicans who lost have a case against the Democrats in California regarding voter fraud.
Well, you know that in is it North Carolina or South Carolina? One of the Carolinas, they're now contending that the Republican has committed fraud. Did you know that? Because
I believe I heard that.
Yeah, and because ballot or vote harvesting is illegal.
They're doing that here too.
But it's legal here in California.
I know.
So in other words, he's guilty in North Carolina or South Carolina because vote harvesting is illegal, but it's legal in California. So you can vote harvest. That means a third party can come in and bring in the ballots.
Just anybody.
Yeah, this is reckless. Okay, this is a slippery slope that we're on here in California. Just like you see, they allowed illegal aliens to get driver's license.
Yeah, they did.
And then it slips into the next thing that now that they get driver's license, they're immediately registered to vote. They have to opt out of being able to vote. I mean, It's very distressing.
Well, the Republicans who are running for state office. The way I see it is they didn't know what was going on in the state assembly and the state senate. They didn't serve on the state assembly and the state senate when that got passed. It got passed somewhere in between after Trump got elected and before this past election. Mm-hmm. And the ones that were, Congress members that were running to keep their seats, they were too busy and distracted in Washington on federal bills. To focus on state bills.
Oh, okay. So what are you saying, that they were negligent at the state level? Hello? Linda? I think I lost Linda, but I lost her, but how did I lose Linda? Anyway, we've got what do we have? 4 more minutes? Okay, so what do I want to talk about for 4 more minutes? I told you to support my sponsor, Sky Tacos, right? Yes. Show them some love. You're going to love those tacos, and call in and tell me what you think. We also have a new sponsor. We didn't play their promo yet. We'll probably start next week. It's, what is it? Tech Workers of US. It's US Tech Workers, I think it is. That's a new sponsor. Our guest was Dr. Steve Perry. He was talking, he's an advocate of school choice, right? And he founded Capital Preparatory Magnet School in Connecticut. I saw him speak. I attended an event last month put on by the Cato Institute. Now, Cato Institute, it was an interesting event, actually. I can talk about this for the next 3 minutes. It was an interesting event. You know, the Cato Institute, they're libertarians, right? And I think libertarians are wrong. Not all, but some, many, generally, libertarians are wrong-headed on immigration. And they had speaking at this event. I can't remember his name. I should have looked it up. I didn't know I was going to bring it up. But he was the young man that was on with Tucker Carlson. And at this event, the folks at my table, we were all like, knowledgeable about high immigration and illegal aliens' adverse impact on Americans. We know the data, we know the political history. But for some reason, that was my table. We're against high immigration and against illegal aliens. But there were other people in the audience that they don't know the data. They don't know the numbers. They don't know the political history. I always talk about the political history. I always talk about the history. Since 1800s, Black Americans have been talking about how high immigration has adversely impacted Black America, correct? But anyway, there was a guy on there who was on with, one of the speakers was the man, I think his first name is Steven, his last name is, he was on Tucker Carlson, and they were saying like, oh my God, this is what they were saying. Boy, you really told Tucker off, man. I mean, it was like, he was like, Tucker doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to immigration, and Tucker doesn't know what it's going on with. This is absurd, because we know we're living it, for one. You hear the callers talking about how the public schools and bilingual education is alienating English speakers, and this has been going on for decades. I've played Izola Foster. I've played Terry Anderson. And also, but they think, see, this is the thing I think about liberals. And this is what I saw on my Facebook page. They exist in a bubble. They just speak to each other and pat each other on the back. In fact, I saw someone on my Facebook page, they were talking about, oh, this term Skid Row is a bad term. It's like, what? It's irrelevant. There's concern with non-issues. Or as Dennis Prager says, they focus on the minutia. They focus on things that are insubstantial or inconsequential. They spend all their energy on things that are of no significance. Anyway, so this was my first show live streaming on YouTube. I see quite a few of you are there, but I want more of you there because I think you need to hear this information, and I think you need to listen to Dan Bongino's podcast. This is the information I gave today. So I want to thank you all. I hear the music. How much more time do we have? Oh, he says, I got to cut it off. Thank you for joining me. I'm Kathleen Wells, your host of the Naked Truth Report, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.